Most investors lose money in junior mining stocks, not because the sector is broken, but because they don't know how to decode them. Headlines, hype, a few flashy drill holes suck people in, and 80% of those companies will never make it. I'm Andrew O'Donnell, founder of The Market Mindset. And after years in finance and watching billions flow in and out of this sector, I built the drill sheet. 10 factors, 10 minutes, one score that filters out all the noise and shows you which stories deserve your money. First, rocks matter. Without continuity, without scale, without real 3D models, you've got nothing. The drill sheet asks, is this deposit a system or is it just a one-hit wonder? Without that foundation, the stock dies. Second, bet on people, not just rocks. Has management raised money before? Have they built a mine? Have they sold a project? The drill sheet scores the team the same way Wall Street scores CEOs, by track record, not by promises. Third, catalysts move stocks, not just rocks. Geology is the foundation, but stocks reprice on events investors can trade. Drill results that prove scale, JV deals, financing, resource updates. Without catalysts on the horizon, even great geology won't move the share price. The drill sheet maps those catalysts on a timeline, so you know if you're looking at the next re-rate or just watching cash burn. Fourth, know your multiples. If you're paying $100 million market cap for a story your peers are paying $20 million for, you're the bag holder. The drill sheet benchmarks juniors against peers to know if you're buying leverage or paying for hype. Now, let me be clear. The drill sheet is not a magic number. It's not a crystal ball. It won't predict the future or tell you when to buy or when to sell. What it does is far more practical. It filters out 80% of those juniors that are just noise, and it shines a spotlight on the small minority with legitimate prospects. It's the fastest way to reveal true potential and to know the right questions to ask next. That's why we tie it to CEO interviews. We've done hundreds of CEO interviews. The score points that spotlight, and the interviews let us drill deeper. This is book one of the Drill Sheet series, Unlocking Junior Mining Opportunities. 10 factors, 10 minutes, one score that filters noise and shows you the minority of juniors with a real shot. Here's how to try it. Download book one free right now. Every Friday, we go live with subscribers and we break down the 2 companies that we scored that week. If you subscribe now for just $9, we'll run a drill sheet on your pick, the company you want to see. Send us the ticker and you'll see the framework at work. Stop guessing. Start investing like the pros. Download Unlocking Junior Mining Opportunities today and join us on Friday. Welcome, everyone. Today, we're diving into Arya Resources and the full scope of the Wedge Lake project in the Ronge Gold Belt. This is a belt where Rasool Mohammad, our guest, and his team have already proven they can deliver an impressive gold system. And I want to frame this discussion around 3 themes that matter most for these early type discoveries. And the first being, we're going to discuss continuity and scale. The early intercepts that Arya have hit, including the broad 44-meter mineralized zone, they show extreme promise. And we're going to want to see what is the next step in that stage. Second, there's dual mineralization. Very important. This is one of the most intriguing parts of this story that Rasool will get into with us. We're not just chasing one structural idea. You've got a shear-hosted, high-grade T6 zone, and then the iron formation hosted twin zone. Same style seen in the likes of Lupin and Muscle White. These are 2 significant discoveries. And as you know, I like comparables. So if we can compare something to something, it makes my job a hell of a lot easier. Third, market mechanics. Arya's valuation is 1/5 of someone similar, like a Trident right now. And despite similar widths, competitive grade valuations, they have shallower mineralization and a perfect hit rate. Part of this is awareness. Part is what? We don't know, but we're going to ask Rasool. This is the framework we wanted to have in mind when we spoke to Rasool. We're really excited to have him on because this is one of those stories that people don't know about. And even Rasool will tell you he's getting phone calls. Who are you? How have you hit so well? So how are you doing today, Rasool? It's great to have you on.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
No, of course. Tell me basically in a straightforward, just the vision of what you have in the thesis for Arya at Wedge Lake.
Yeah, thank you. We acquired some projects in Saskatchewan. So the basic idea is that you go in the jurisdiction that's safe. Saskatchewan is one of the best jurisdictions, as we all know. And then, more importantly, the infrastructure is also a key factor in our decision making. We want to make sure that there is highways and power nearby and experienced workforce on top of the jurisdiction. And I guess third, which is also it should be the most important part, but equally important is the geology and the rocks. We have worked in the area in the Ronge Gold Belt in the past, and are quite familiar with the geological setting.
You come with a model and a thesis that it had soil anomalies, past data, geophysics. What did you have to begin with to lead you towards the targets that, and this will be a follow-up question too, that have produced great results? I mean, it's very rare to see the results so early from a company. So what led you to those targets?
Yeah, so there was a historical work done on the property and the Wedge Lake Gold project that we're talking about. So we have two projects that are gold project. One is got historical work. One is an early stage, and one nickel copper cobalt deposit. But we'll focus on the gold deposit, the historical deposit. Obviously, that is non 43-101 compliant. It had a small resource, I would call it 101,000 ounces at 5.14 grams per ton. I'll have to make a disclaimer here. It's a non 43-101 resource. Historical work needs to be done to prove it. And so that was kind of where we started. And then also there were some other showings that had really good grades in the historical drill holes, like the T6 zone. So on the Wedge Lake Gold property, we started with the historical resource, and then the T6 zone is kind of our two main areas we wanted to focus on, because there was enough work done in the past to understand, what they carried. And then also about 3,900 meter strike length of iron formation with several showings. But we drilled just the two showings so far, the T6 zone and the twin zone.
And you've got experience. I mean, we'll take even a further step back with the Ronge Belt, and talking about that geology is critical, because you always want to start with strong geology, and you've got that obviously. What was it that you at the beginning even wanted to look into the Ronge Belt, this kind of structure?
Like you mentioned, we have experience working in the belt, and successfully. We've had some really good grades come out of that Ronge Gold Belt in the past, and also the historical data that we looked at. We realized that obviously the modern technology would make a difference, and then the fact that there was some work done in the past. So we looked at that and thought how we could improve that. We came up with certain techniques that weren't done at the time, and also some modern technology that wasn't available at the time. So a combination of all of those things, the historical data, and then changing some of the scientific techniques that were used, including the analytical methods and the downhole surveys, and the differential GPSs. All of those things helped us deliver these significant results, in my opinion, that we missed on one hole out of the 10 drill holes with about $600,000 budget. I don't want to make an outlandish statement here, but every hole almost had bonanza grades that we've hit systematically on the T6 zone. And then in the twin zone, we were not expecting what we have hit in those three drill holes, two particularly. wide zones of mineralization, one drill hole, top to bottom, ending up in gold mineralization, and then one hole, like you had mentioned, returning 44 meters of 4 gram. No matter where you are, let alone Saskatchewan, Ontario, or Quebec, or any Canadian jurisdictions, these are good economical grades by any means, by any standards.
You touched on a number of things that are critical, and they speak to the team, the management, the process that you're going through. I'll just start with the 640,000. That to get the success you've got with such a small budget speaks really highly of the use of funds. So maybe we'll touch on that a little bit, but also because it ties into management and team, is without getting too much into the details, the reimagining or relooking at the data and the new techniques. Maybe you can kind of tell people what you saw, like what with once again, we don't want to lose people in this, but how you apply different techniques in order to get to where you are, because it is, without being promotional or sounding outlandish, it is very impressive to get strong results on that budget, but let alone hit the way you have. And that also speaks to, like the marketing and people not necessarily knowing who you are, is that it's a very interesting model that you have where you've gone out and proved something, and now you're going to tell the world, rather than, hey, we've got an idea, we want to raise a bunch of money, and then we're going to hit the targets. It's quite refreshing. So I've given a bunch of different things here, but I wanted to frame it that way because it's important that people realize that you've drilled this, you've got these results on a very tiny budget, and that's very impressive. And now you're telling the world now. It's kind of backwards.
Yeah. So the way we describe our company, we wanted to build the foundation first. We wanted to have that established before we go and let the world know that we have something significant. So we're still in the process of doing that. We wanted to build the foundation before telling the story, but now we have built something with very little budget, like you had mentioned. And just something I wanted to say something about myself and the team. Not so much about the team, this particular shortcoming. I'm very good with hands and feet, but not so good with my mouth in terms of. So that's the shortcoming, and you're helping me with that. So going back to the scientific techniques and the budget. So I'll if I go in too much detail, let me know. You can stop me, but I'll talk about the scientific part because that's the most exciting part for us.
Yes.
So 3 things that we did different that helped us in achieving what we have achieved. Number 1, the most important part is the analytical method. The historical resources were all done based on an internal mining lab. The company would have their own in-house mining lab, and they would do what's called atomic absorption method on the gold analysis. So there's 2 things that we did different. Obviously, we used a third-party independent lab, and then second, instead of using atomic absorption, we went and did a metallic analysis on our gold sample. So let me explain that a little bit further. So in the metallic analysis, you would take almost half of your sample to analyze. And the traditional fire assay method that the previous operators also used would only analyze 14 grams versus the metallic would use somewhere 1.6 kilos of a sample. So if you have a coarse gold, and if you're only taking 14 grams out of the 2 kilo sample, chances are you will leave some of that gold in the in the part that you don't sample.
Sure.
So if you take 1.6 kilos out of the 2 kilo sample, chances are you'll pick the free gold that we have hit in the T6 zone. And that's what happened, basically. That's very simple. No magic to it.
Yeah.
Why didn't they do it? I have no explanation. Why didn't they use the metallics method in the past? I cannot comment on it. But that's something we did different. The second thing that we did different was the downhole surveys. At the time, it would have been a total station that you'd be surveying the drill rods and getting the azimuths and the dips, and then you would use the acid test to look at the dips. Now we have a Debbie liner method, which basically measures the azimuth and the dip at the collar and every 30 meters. So you know exactly where you are in a space every 30 meters, if your hole is shallowing or if it's flattening. And then we also use the differential GPS to be very accurate on where we are within a few centimeter accuracy. So it was more of a science, and also the fact that there was a historical data that we could look at in terms of the rocks and the settings and what the grades were. One thing I do want to point out and emphasize here, that the grades that we have hit, none of them were ever found in any of the historical data. And that is not because we're genius, it's because of the systematic scientific methods that we use, the analytical method, the downhole surveys, the differential GPSs, and also the experienced geologist that we have on our team. He has worked on similar settings in many jurisdictions, and so excuse me. So that was the scientific part. And the $630,000 budget that you mentioned, excuse me. Yeah, we're running very tight ship. So we don't have a lot of marketing budget, Andrew, and thank you for doing this for us.
Yes.
Appreciate it. So we don't have a lot of marketing budget. So the money that we raised $1.1 million, from our last shareholders, and they're very happy. They're very happy with what we achieved. Out of that, 630,000 were flow through, like I mentioned, and we use that on the drilling. So tightly run company, not top heavy, and we're watching our dollars and pennies and spend it wisely.
That's what I mean when we run drill sheets for companies. That's the thing we like. I mean, yeah, we do work with companies, and in part we sort of like marketing, but I also much appreciate when there's very little marketing spent, because you want to see every dollar go down hole, because you want the company to have as much success. What I find very interesting about this is two things. One, people, especially retail, they're new to this. They need to understand well, and what you've told us. How could you get a property and someone missed something? Well, you've just told us exactly the process of which you applied and the framework which you decided to look at the project. This happens. People find things on projects someone else had before. I mean, if you look at Great Bear, Chris Taylor envisioned a different way. It went a different direction, and it turned out very well. It's good for people to understand that, because when they're new, they think, oh, well, someone already poked holes around this. There's nothing there. No, that's not always the case at all. This is a very clear example of that being so. And also that budgeting is so critical because you're in a better place for mining as well. One would argue you're not out in the middle of the mountains or way out in the boonies. You've got infrastructure. You can drill meters much more tightly. You're not bombing around on helicopters, that type of thing. And that third piece is that you did it quietly to build a foundation. Like, hey, we've got something. Now I'll tell the world. And I think that is very attractive to someone like myself, who looks at companies all the time, because it isn't you're coming with the what if. You're saying, hey, no, we've got something. Now we need to let people know that we've got a thesis that's true, that's real. The geology is there. We need to prove continuity. We need to prove that there's meters. That's a story that deserves, I would argue, the market to know. That's kind of my 2 cents worth on that, but I really appreciate that. But maybe you can give a comment on when you first came to this, that was the approach.
Yeah, exactly. We basically wanted to build the foundation. We wanted to build the company first, and then go tell the story after. And that's exactly what we did. We went in the jurisdiction, like you mentioned, that have established infrastructure where you can drive to our property. Right now, we built a road. We're about 4 kilometers away from a mine. That a gold mine, so to speak, and we're in Saskatchewan, and obviously We didn't go with the greenfield project because I mean, you could hit, but you could also miss. So we went with something that was known. What we did do was, improve on what was found. So what has been found so far, like I had mentioned, all our drill holes, including a T6 zone, including the twin deposit, historical results, none of them indicate such wide zones, especially in the T6 zone, and the grades too. On the T6 and the twin zone. Pardon me. The wide zones are in the twin zone, and the T6 is more of a mesothermal quartz hosted gold, shear hosted, so to speak. So we weren't expecting the grades, honestly. And then the twin was just just a very pleasant surprise. Very pleasant surprise. Top to bottom mineralization in one hole. The drill hole ended in gold mineralization, and then on top of it, on the twin zone, 44 meters of almost 4 grams. And then 16 meters of 16 meters of 10 grams, and then 4 meters of 26 grams. So this was a very pleasant surprise. And just so you have a slide on the screen here. I'll talk a little bit about that. Between the distance between the T6 and the twin zone is about 700 meters, and then the twin zone itself is about 600 meters. So we have about 1,200 meters of strike length in a corridor, so to speak. So far, we have demonstrated continuity, laterally, on the twin zone, and on the T6 zone, we have demonstrated continuity both laterally and vertically. What we would need to do is go back and drill test at depth, especially on the twin zone, and follow further to the east and below the hole number 9, and improve the extension of that zone. And then eventually you wanted to connect the T6 zone and the twin zone. And like I had said, these are two different settings. The T6 zone is a shear-hosted quartz vein type of system, and the twin zone is iron formation hosted. Bulk tonnage target, if I may.
Yeah.
And so now, how are they connected? That's something we'll be studying over the next little while.
And that's why we can make early stage comparisons to like a Musselwhite or Lupian as well, is that the geology is similar. We can also, if I wanted to look at more of a like a market cap structure, you could look at, and arguably assay results too, you could look at a Trident, and they had 7 grams over 43 meters and 30 grams over 9 meters. Arguably, you could say that because yours is discovered much more shallow. I mean, and once again, this is very shallow. I mean, when you're saying at depth, like you've only gone down what is 45 meters shallower or near surface than the likes of Trident. So they're very comparable in results, whereas you're a 9 million, 10 million market cap, and Trident is a 50, so odd one. And I always like to position that so people understand. Sometimes when people don't know about a company that's doing very well, there's good to find neighbors to compare against.
It's a good hit. Trident has a good hit. By any means. Longer widths and good grades, comparable to ours. And the difference, like we have been saying, is that we haven't created awareness. We don't have the marketing program yet in place to let the world know that we have something significant by any standard, by any mean. With 10 drill hole program, almost 1,100 meters, every hole has hit except one, and they're all economical grades and good widths. And two systems we're looking at. Theirs is a shear hosted, good, well-known system, established, and so is ours. The T6 zone is a shear hosted. Bonanza grades we have in every hole almost. And then what we have on top is slightly different. Is the iron formation, the long intervals, top to bottom mineralization in one hole, and then 44 meters of 4 grams, and you have a core high grade, so to speak, in one hole, and then you have a halo surrounding it. So, if I may arm wave, you could have a starter pit, and then
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to get into, is that this, and once again, I'll choose my language carefully here. This gives you kind of like double the chance of tonnage. So someone says, wow, these are great results, but show me some scale. Is that we're early here, and it's very impressively early, but this, what we're hinting at that is that, okay, yeah, I'll show you, like with that graph, we'll show you that there are shear zones as well as the chance for possibly open pit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, both. The systems, both of the systems, the T6 zone and the twin zone, they both carry economical grades. I do not want it to quantify, okay, but these are economical grades no matter where you are, let alone well-established jurisdiction, safe jurisdiction like Saskatchewan, with infrastructure in place, a gold mine about 4 or 5 kilometers away from us. So by any angle you look at it, these are economical grades in both of these T6 and iron formation. Okay, there's one thing that we still wanted to understand geologically. How are these two connected? If you look at that map earlier that you were showing, or the T6, so yeah, this or the other one, the detail map. One is a shear. This one right here, yeah. So the T6 is a shear hosted quartz vein, and the twin is iron formation. What happened, which one came first? Did the T6 zone came first, that gold came first, or the twin came first, or are they part of the same time? It happened all at the same time, that gold came in and deposited in the shears, and also founded a favorable deposition environment and the iron formation, and deposited there too. We don't know that yet. That's still too early, the geological model, so to speak. But so far we know they're in close proximity. So you cannot really ignore the elephant in the room, which is, okay, how are they connected? How are they joined? And what is the intersection point of these two zones?
Yes, I guess it's the follow-up to that, what maybe we're alluding to. It may be too early, but I always get ahead of myself. Is there any indication that one of these systems or the other looks like the engine, like it's the one delivering, or is it like you guys need to go back, look at all the data you've got now to go, let's take a look and we'll search that out? Are you getting any kind of hints?
No, it's too early. It's too early to forecast that or speculate. It's too early.
But that's the next stage is take a look at all the data now, because you've proven a thesis, and then to extrapolate beyond that to, is it to move by like smaller like meters to step out? Are you going to step out wide, or are these the things that you're going to be discussing over the next few weeks to see what the next steps are?
Yeah, correct. More importantly, what you want to do is you want to extend it. So we understand the geometry to a certain extent of the T6 zone is fairly straightforward. There is some dilation zones. There's some wider zones. So we have to kind of follow that at depth and a lot on the surface, strike and depth. So how wide are those dilation zones? And and then what is to the east and to the west on the T6 zone. So it's fairly straightforward, except the dilation zones that we have to figure out, the wider, thicker, 10, 15 meters of carrying half an ounce to an ounce material. That's something we have to figure out. There is possibility of finding that under T6 zone. So far we would be going systematically to the east and down dip to expand on the on the mineralization that we have found so far. And then in the twin zone, we wanted to go down dip or find the extension of the hole number 9, 44 meters of 3 grams, and prove that it has continuity at depth, and then go further to the east because the system is still open. So more drilling. And then figuring out the geological model. Okay, how do these two connect? The T6 zone and the iron formation. What is the intersection point of these two in the geological model? So that's something we have to figure out yet.
And that's something that's also quite rare for an early stage junior to come upon, is these two types of formations so early that you found so early. That's quite rare. That's put you in another category of rare, and not only with the assays, but with that geology. And I think it's important because everything is the geology and the assays, so that people understand this thesis that you've proven out and will likely expand upon here in the next season, 2026.
Exactly, and then we don't want to forget the fact that there is 3.9 kilometer strike length of mineralization. Sorry, I just got the phone ringing.
Yeah, no problem.
So 3.9 kilometer strike length of iron formation, pardon me, and within that you have several showings, of which we have tested only 2. There is several other historical showings that we would need to get back to it at some point in time. But for now, what we have found, we wanted to expand on it. The historical showings obviously is of value because that's what we use to guide us to the T6 zone and the twin zone. So you cannot really ignore some of these other showings along the belt. 3.9 kilometer is what we have under our claims, and see what else is there. There's definitely other gold showings and some other metals, silver too, that has not been drill tested with modern techniques.
And that certainly gives people some idea of scale and scope of the what if kind of thing, which is important. People want to see, can this be expanded? Yes. Maybe give a bit of a sense as to like the shear depth that can go as well, like these shears, because that gives some idea of like we've got expanse, but continuity at depth. How deep can these things run?
Well, they go for several kilometers. So many of the producing mines in Saskatchewan will just stay close. We don't want to go to Ontario or Quebec. So they are of this nature, shear hosted, and Trident has what they put out as a shear hosted. So these are very predictable systems at depth and along strike. What the feature that we're interested, or we like about what we have so far, is that there's a continuity of these high grades. I keep using the word bonanza. It's not one drill hole.
Yeah.
It's several drill holes that we have hit these really high grades, and it's a known system. It's predictable, and there's many examples. CB mine, for example, similar system, have been producing, for decades, and has produced about 2 million ounces, thereabouts, maybe a little bit less. And they never have more than 300, 400,000 ounces on their books as reserves, because they know these systems have extensions and they go on for at least 2 kilometers.
So here's a fun question. With the work you've done on 640,000, what could you do on like a 10,000 meter, like let's say a $5 million budget, 5 or 6 or 7 million, and you 10,000 meters that you could drill? Like what would be, what could we extrapolate from that? That's a bit of an unfair question. I'm asking you to say what you would do with that. But I imagine if you wanted to close the gap between, say, a neighbor, like a Trident, if you had the type of budget to do 10,000 meters, that would be a good way of catching up in market cap.
Yeah, there's probably a way you could, there is a way. It used to be that for every meter drilled, ounces found. type of thing, or
Yeah.
dollar spent, ounces found. There's different ways to look at it. What would I do with 5,000 meters? Well, if obviously when you go into the resource definition mode, you would be looking at that. By then you would have a continuity. We do have continuity at depth, and you wanted to fill the gap between the T6 and the twin. That's about 1,100, 1,200 meters collectively between those two. So that's what you're going to be putting your meterage to come up with the resource, with the tonnage. Yeah, exactly. It would probably be more than that. Maybe 10 to 20,000 meters. Yeah.
Well, this is where, if there's projects that deserve to be looked at, this is one, because it's hit a lot of these factors. And I want to kind of just remind people, because a lot of people have joined in now, and just let them know what we've got here. You've got discovery. You've got, almost all the holes hitting. So 9 out of 10, which is exceptionally rare on such a tight budget. Once again, very rare. And 2 systems. And I kind of want to package that, because it is important that everything is led by the science and by then the results. This isn't being promotional. The results are out. The assays are there. You've worked in these types of systems in the Ronge area. And it's important that people know that the way you took this company to market was, we're going to go find something, and then we'll tell everyone. And that is a remarkable and interesting way that I think needs to be commended, because it isn't, we want to go get money and we think we can prove something. We're going to show you, and we're going to come tell you. And I think that's going to get people, especially in this market where they're paying a lot more attention to gold, listen, you're close to infrastructure, you're in Canada, which is great. We know what the rules are. We know how to do this properly. And you've gone and shown me something that you've proven a thesis. And now let's build upon that. And I think it's pretty refreshing to be, that's kind of how I phrase this whole conversation with you, and why we wanted to have you on. Maybe you can kind of just remind us again, as kind of just following up, of just reiterating that story as well, and we'll wrap it up for everyone, because this has been a very important discovery and situation that's been developing quietly behind the scenes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we wanted to build the company first, and then have something in hand, then go to the market and tell them, look, this is what we've got with such a tight budget. We run a very tight company. We're very top light. We don't have a huge burn rate, a big burn rate on a monthly basis, and as you can tell, we haven't spent any money. A lot of money on marketing. We're just starting right now, and compared to our peers, I don't know. I cannot give you any examples, but I'm sure you can go and search, see how much money being spent on marketing, and rightly so. Marketing is not a bad thing. It's not not bad, but you have to have something in hand that you're convinced that it is worth marketing, as opposed to just for the sake of marketing. So we did what we said we will do. We did it on time, on budget. We had several challenges. We had the whole province of Saskatchewan in the wildfires while we were doing that. We had floods. Our bridges were swept away. But we kept focus, and we wanted to have something in hand before we start telling our story. I did tell you this off the record, that I had people calling me, said, hey, we have never heard of you or the company before, and where is this all coming from? And that's exactly what we wanted to do, is have the results first, deliver something, and then go to the market that, look, we built a foundation, and we're still doing that with such a little capital raised. Our shareholders love us. Think about it.
Yeah, they must. I mean, I found you the same way. Is that I like Mining Hub, and they post results, and if I see something extraordinary or very interesting, I'll run a quick drill sheet through it, and boom, I was like, wait, like, how do I know? I don't know this company. So it was the same kind of way, and I think that's really refreshing. Is when you aren't aware of the story, and then you get results. And then you find out, like, we've got a very methodical method or methodical process of evaluating things. And when it hits those metrics and those markets, that we find valuable. Like you haven't spent a ton on marketing to get the story out. That's a big positive for someone like me, because we see you've done the work, you've got a real thesis, you've proven a real thesis and a discovery, and people should know about it. Like, listen, if you're interested on something that has a proper working thesis that's been proven, and that you've has gotten leapfrogged in front of a lot of other projects out there, this would be one that someone should do their due diligence on, and to ask more questions. And feel free, I mean, send me tons if you want, and I can pass them along to Rasool as well. But maybe you could tell us as well, just to kind of wrap it up. You've delivered to your shareholders. The next round of people will say, okay, well, what am I looking for now? So if you got my attention, what do I need to pay attention to in the next 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, to see if you keep on, matching those milestones and doing what you say you're going to do? What should they be looking for?
Yeah, certainly we're going to be following up with the next drill program on the 2 zones that we have drilled and successfully delivered good grades, good results. That's basically what we will be focused on the next several months. We're proud of our team. Obviously, with our geologists, our board of directors, they have an incredible job. We haven't diluted our shareholders. We haven't been rolled back. We're fairly young. We started in December 2022. We're proud of what we have achieved with such a little capital, and we'll continue doing so. We are the shareholders, and so is everybody else. So we watch every dollar and penny that we spent, and we want to make sure that we take calculated risk. We did not want to go into the greenfield project like I had mentioned to you before. We wanted to go somewhere where there was something known. It was drilled at the time when the commodity prices were low, and the technology is, we're not genius. We just went with what's available now versus what was not available or not thought of in the 1980s. Commodity prices, the downhole surveys, the analytical method, the differential GPSs, all those things. It's not one thing, and obviously the team is the number one thing. You could have a great asset, but if you don't have the right people to take it to the next level, watching where the shareholders, where they come in at what price, and the financing that we're doing right now, obviously. Is at a much higher price than we did last time. So all of these things, make us stand out, I think, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I mean, it stands out on our drill sheet for sure. And there is a big valuation gap in your favor. Part of that is an awareness gap, which is also great, because once again, people are going to know, and we're coming into a season 2, running into PDAC and VRIC and all the shows that are out in Europe right now. People are going to start talking, and when you've got something to talk about, that's always a good thing.
Yes.
So we're very proud to have you on and to talk about what has developed and what is developing, because once again, like we say in all our stuff, 70-80% of the companies out there don't have a strong enough thesis, or haven't proven it, or kind of digging around. But the cream of the crop, if they show you something, they've got a real thesis, and those are the ones that I would argue should be rewarded in your time and your effort and your eyes and your attention, and even funding. These are the stories that capture the imagination, because not only are they bonanza grade, these are fantastic asset results. If someone always follows up with, is there scale? And you've shown us, yes, there's potential here. And that is enough to get anybody who's interested in gold, interested in following up with you and watching to see what the next steps are as you get awareness out. So thanks so much. I'll leave you with the last kind of word as well, but we really appreciate the hard work you've done, how you've taken this, the approach you've taken to market, and then and telling the market what you've got here. I mean, it's very cool.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Andrew. I enjoyed the conversation. It's my first time, so I'm a little rusty. So
It's great.
Hope everything worked out okay on your end, and you got quite a setup, and enjoyed it. Honestly.
It was fantastic. And I encourage people, we've got like 450 people on right now. Send me a message, send me a text, reach out on email, andrew@themarketmindset.ca. If you've got specific questions, I can pass them along. I don't want to necessarily pass along your information because people might bother you, but I'll screen them, answer what I can, and pass them along, because once again, part of my job is to shout and yell and encourage people to look at the geology, at the thesis, at the structure if things are coming along. And I really am, I can't stress enough, impressed by two different systems that Shear hosted, as well as the T6 one, with a small budget and the hit rate that you have. That's rare upon rare. It's beyond medium cooked rare. It's super rare. And that's it's a good find to have that. So we're really encouraged to have that conversation with you.
Thank you, Andrew. I enjoyed it, and hopefully next time we see you, we'll have an update.
Excellent. That would be fantastic. We'll keep our eyes on you, and we appreciate your time and explain to us exactly how it works when you have a thesis like this to prove it up. It's important that we help to teach new retail investors why you can get a property that someone has looked at before, and you can apply different techniques, newer techniques, and a scientific regimen in order to get results. And if there's a major thing I want people to come away with, is that's part of this story as well. And having that methodical approach is critical, not only to the bankroll and the budget to keep it tight, but the inches and the meters that you're logging as well. All of it matters. And once again, enjoy the rest of the day. We're going to be watching to see what results you've in the near future, and wish you all the best.
Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate it.
All the best, everyone. Take care. Send me an email if you want any more questions or any answers. We'll be happy to get them to you. All the best, everyone. Take care.